It's almost that time of year again, when the sun is not as hot and there is a slight chill in the air. I believe the day is September 22nd. That's the official day fall begins. However, I think fall begins the very day Trader Joe's sets out all their fun little items, all their seasonal snacks and treats. My wife's birthday is coming up, and I met her 2 days after her birthday, 7 years ago. This month will mark 7 years. So she and I are very emotionally tied to fall and autumn. It's very nostalgic. Let's talk about some books. Today I want to provide some recommendations, some book recommendations perfect for the season of fall and autumn. Some of these books will be scary, emotional, cozy, maybe a little bit of all three. So hopefully this list of books has something for everyone. I haven't read every single book on this list. I've read about half. And the other half are books that I have saved specifically for this season, for September and October, for spooky season. And I'm a slow reader, so I don't think I'm going to get to all of these books this year. I don't want to read all of these in 1 month. I want to sprinkle them out, savor them. Save them for next year, next Halloween, and the following Halloween. And let's start with the king of horror, and that's Stephen King, Pet Sematary. In my experience with this book, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. It's easily one of his best executed books. Pacing, characters, story beats, all of it. I just think it'll hit different when I have kids. But nonetheless, I highly recommend this book. When I think of Halloween, I think of monsters. And one of the most classic monsters of that holiday is the vampire. And you cannot go wrong with Stephen King's Salem's Lot. Stephen King is known for writing small little towns and all the characters within. This is a prime example. And this was his second book ever written. In Salem's Lot, you really get to see the day-to-day life of each townsfolk, each member of this small town, how they live their life, who they are, and what their personalities are like. All the while, there's a dark presence beneath the surface, intruding on this town, a sinister plot about to unfold. When I think of Stephen King, I think of the evil clown, the evil, scary clown from It. This is another classic horror book that is perfect for the months of September, October. I would even think start this during summertime, the end of summer, at the cusp of fall and autumn. Now, I have not read this book, and I'm definitely not reading it this year. This is a big one. This is, over 1,000 pages. I don't have time for that. I'm a very slow reader, and I plan on saving this for next year. This book is about a group of friends tormented by an evil clown. And these friends grow up into adults. And as adults, they come back to the town to, face this evil force. That's about as much as I know of this book. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'm really intrigued. I've been saving this for quite some time, and it just hasn't called to me yet. The Shining, Stephen King, an absolute classic. Sadly, another book I have yet to read. However, I plan on reading it this year. Maybe mid to late October, maybe in November, but we'll see. I have heard The Shining to be one of his scariest books. And surprisingly, this is the third book Stephen King ever wrote. What a popular author. What a versatile library of books and styles and stories. I have watched Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining, and I loved it. But I have heard that it's quite different from the book, which excites me because it is nice to know that I am going to be experiencing something new with The Shining book versus the movie. This story is all about isolation and going crazy. This small little family living in this massive hotel, whether it's haunted or not, and whether things are real or imagined. Man, I'm really excited. We're taking a break from Stephen King to talk about The Troop by Nick Cutter. Sometimes I like to look up articles and lists of books online. Hey, what are the top scariest books of all time? This was not on my radar. I knew nothing about this, but the concept sounds perfect for spooky season and perfect for my tastes. Oh my gosh, the sun is out right now. There we go, little dynamic light. That's nice. Let me read you the back of this book. Once a year, Scoutmaster Tim Riggs leads a troop of boys into the Canadian wilderness for a weekend camping trip. A tradition as comforting and reliable as a good ghost story around a roasting campfire. But when an unexpected intruder stumbles upon their campsite, shockingly thin, disturbingly pale, and ferociously hungry, Tim and the boys are exposed to something far more frightening than any tale of terror. The human carrier of a bioengineered nightmare, a horror that spreads faster than fear, a harrowing struggle of survival with no escape from the elements, the infected, or one another. I had a live stream with Mike's book reviews last week. We were talking about spooky books and whatnot. And I asked him about this, and he said this gives him John Carpenter's The Thing vibes. 1992, The Thief of Always by Clive Barker. This was recommended to me by Toby Crabb. He's one of my subscribers, and we talk back and forth through social media and on live streams. Great guy, and an author. So he recommended me this book, and I'd like to read the little message he sent me. I know you love prose, Rothfuss, Beagle, Bradbury, and atmosphere. And to me, what makes those writers even better are when they are writing about our favorite holidays and seasons. The Thief of Always is a festive, seasonal childhood horror written by novelist, illustrator, painter, and filmmaker Clive Barker. It is about a bored boy that is spirited away to a holiday house where he gets to experience Halloween, Christmas, summer, nonstop. However, it is quickly revealed that the house is not what it seems. It is directly inspired by Ray Bradbury's The Halloween Tree, and it is a main influence of Neil Gaiman's Coraline. Clive is always known for beautiful prose and his vast original imagination. Good for Christmas or Halloween. I took Toby's word and I instantly picked up a copy of this book. Now I have no idea if I'll get to this year because I don't want to overdo it in October. I only want to read a handful of books. I don't want it to become a chore where I'm just checking books off left and right. I want to be intentional with each book I choose and take my time, savoring each word and each story beat. Speaking of haunted houses, I recently read this last week, and that's The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. An absolute classic, published in 1959, I believe. This was quite a surprise. I don't want to give too much away, but what I loved so much about it was the tone and execution was so mature and ambiguous. It's not your typical jump scare book. It's a slow burn and much deeper than just a haunted house. And it's only 182 pages. So that's a quick weekend read. Now, speaking of Ray Bradbury, these are the two books I absolutely, definitively will be reading in October. The moment October 1st hits, I'm going to read Something Wicked, This Way Comes. I held off on this last year because I was reading Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I'm glad I did because the last time I read Ray Bradbury was Fahrenheit 451. In high school. I'm really looking forward to experiencing his writing as an adult. I don't know too much about this book. I just know it is a gorgeous and beautifully written coming-of-age story. It's dark, it's poetic, it's nostalgic, magical. It's about two friends getting lost in a spooky, sinister carnival. And one more Ray Bradbury book, The Halloween Tree. On Halloween night, 8 trick-or-treaters gather at the haunted house by the edge of town, ready for adventure. When something whisks their friend Pip away, only one man can help the boys find him. Join the sinister carapace, clavicle Moundshround, as he takes them on an unforgettable journey through space and time, deep into the mysteries of this spookiest of all nights. Can the boys save Pip before it's too late? This was another recommendation by my friend Toby Crabb. Well, I guess the gardeners are out. I'm so close to finishing this video. We'll wait. Halloween rolls out on a Friday this year, and I think this is the perfect book to save for the day of Halloween. Maybe the day before, because it's only 145 pages. You can knock this out in a day or two. Just captures the vibe of Halloween. Okay, I have 3 books left. These are not October Halloween scary books. These books are like that familiar blanket that keeps you warm on a cold night. Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. My favorite book of all time. And it wouldn't be a Thomas R. Howell video without me talking about my favorite book. This book really does feel like fall to me. This is one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. It's a tender story that takes its time, that really slows down and allows for a natural, day-to-day pace. This is a fantasy book that isn't your typical fantasy book. It's not about saving the world. It's not about climbing the mountains and finding that magical sword, saving the princess, defeating the dragons, defeating the Dark Lord. It's not about that. It's a very intimate story about a boy finding his way through life. If you love a deliberately slow-paced story and lyrical and poetic prose and a magic system that has consequences, give Name of the Wind a try. This was one of my wife's favorite books that she read, I think, last year. That's The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab. I'm recommending this book because I know my wife would want to recommend it to you. So I'm recommending it for her to you. I do know that it felt like fall to her. It was a warm, vivid, and visual book. Let's just read the back of the book here. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. It will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name. And suddenly, everything changes again. Last but not least, again, one of the most beautiful books I have ever read this year. The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. 1968, a fantasy classic, which I have no idea why no one talks about this book on BookTube. This book is about the last unicorn. She's trying to find her people. And along the way, she meets a wizard and a girl named Molly. I don't want to spoil too much, because this book is short, it's sweet, it's impactful, it's intentional. Not a single word is wasted. Every word, every sentence, every paragraph, every moment has purpose, has meaning. And this is a book you can reread over and over and over again and get something new from it. It has so much emotional depth, so much philosophy, so much poetry. And these are all the books I recommend you read during the season of fall. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but sometime when you're ready. Give these books a try and save them for this wonderful season of autumn. September, October, November. Something spooky, something emotional, something cozy. Let me know if you have read any of these books, or if you haven't. Have they been on your radar? Have they been sitting on your bookshelf? And what books do you plan on reading this fall? Let's talk about it. Cheers.